Howdy doody. Today we're going to be talking about this truck behind me, which is a 2000 F550 dually, the dump truck version, as you can see by the dump bed on it. It also has the 7.3 Powerstroke diesel in it, which if you're a Ford fan, we'll call it iconic. It's a nice motor, or like the only one that's ever worked. This specific truck, we're going to talk about basically the project in itself, what it needs, what I've done to it, and then we'll get into a part 2, which is going to be, we'll talk about that later. So let's get into this thing and go from there. So, like I mentioned, I picked this up a couple months ago. Got a good deal on it. We'll talk about price later, but it definitely came with its fair share of skeletons. That's kind of what I was looking for. Whenever I'm buying a truck, like a work truck, I'm buying with cash. So I got a budget to stick to. So I want more truck for my money. So I'll find something with issues, so I can get a little bit cheaper. This specific truck, wiring and leaf springs were the two big problems. When I reached out to the guy, he mentioned that it didn't have working tail lights at the moment. A buddy was working on it and just cut all the wires in, like, behind the cab that run to the dump bed, and just cobbled it back together, and it was a mess. So being me, I knew I wanted the truck, so my wife and I jumped in the car. We drove down and picked it up, but by the time we got there, it was dusk. So immediately pulled into a gas station. I brought my multimeter and some alligator wires and half cobbled the tail lights together and drove her home with just full power to the brake lights, and my wife driving behind me. Wouldn't recommend it, but it worked. It got us home. So, got it back here, tore into the wiring, got everything sorted out. That's all good and ready. But I will mention in the upcoming clips that it still has its fair share of wiring issues, or demons, if you will, under the dash that I need to sort out. Everything's working. It's just not perfect at this point. So, but that's that. The other thing that was wrong with it is the leaf springs. They weren't quite broken when I bought it, but we'll say within 25 miles, one side was snapped in half. So they were rough. So I already got the side that was broken fixed. The other side I'm going to replace, just because if you do one side, might as well do the other. So the part 2 video is going to be kind of like a how-to on replacing the front leaf springs on this truck. So with that, I already replaced one side, and yes, this is one side, one half, second half. But anyway, that's this side. I started this project a couple weeks ago. It was the end of the paving season anyway, so I really haven't been using this truck, but I'd really like to get it out of my driveway because I don't have space as it is. You might recognize this truck from all the other projects that we've been doing around here, because it's been sitting here right when I started the channel, is right when I was doing this half, and I have not finished it. So we're going to start the other half. The other half is still intact, but it's in not great shape, so we're going to replace that side too, since we already did this side. Might as well do the other. So we are going to tear the other side open, but first I gotta get this thing running. I gotta button down the rest of this. I have all the parts on, but I haven't tightened anything up yet. That's smart. So I'm going to tighten all this stuff up, flip the truck around, and and we'll tear open the other side. I haven't used this yet, so excited to give it a try. Of course, this is just tightening, so I'm not really getting the full potential of it, but that's good and snug. Now, it hasn't rained here in a while, so I'm assuming some of this puddle here is actually transmission fluid. I know that pan is leaking, so I bought a new gasket and fluid, so that'll be a future project for another day. But for now, I'm going to use my creepy crawler here in order to get to those rear bolts, because it's a little damp, if you can't tell. Yeah, it smells like tranny fluid down here. You guys ever listen to Charlie Crockett? I got him going in my earbuds right now. I'm Just a Clown. Good tune. I can also partially relate to the song, which I don't know if is a good thing. Oh, well. This is why I hate starting a project, dropping it, and then coming back, because you never remember what size sockets you're dealing with. Why can't everything just be easy? I already tightened these, didn't I? Sure does look like it. Alright, we're going to take a break from the leaf springs and move on to replacing this wheel stud down here. If you can see that, it's this one right here. Oop, right there. When I was removing this wheel, obviously these threads are just real gummed up, so I did my best. I drowned them in schmutz, little PB blaster, but no luck. I ended up snapping one off. So I do have a replacement for that, so I'll show you how to do it. Pretty easy process, especially on a dually, because you have that extra width in between your rotor and your hub here. So we are going to show you how to do that, and then we will get back to the leaf springs.
Hello, honey girl. Hello.
Alright, step one, heat it up. Make sure your dog's out of the way so you don't light her on fire. Step two, knock her out. You can also do that with an air hammer, which I have, so not sure why I did it this way, but hey. Take your new wheel stud, make sure it's the right size.
Take your new wheel stud, make sure it's the right size.
I realized right after I said that I shouldn't have said that, because I just jinxed myself. I think I got the wrong thread size. Thanks, AutoZone. I don't know why I shop there. Alright, I gotta go get that correct wheel stud, but in the meantime, I'm gonna get this nut off of the existing wheel stud so I can reuse this. I don't know what direction I'm going yet, so I don't know what direction I'm going yet, so I'm just doing it from both ends.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You see that? See that, Billy? Alright, let's see if I can just back it out the end. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of rust falling out. I don't know if you could see that, but there's a bunch of rust falling out right here. Hot. Okie dokie. Let's head back and keep working on the leaf springs. In the meantime, I'll go grab the new wheel stud, and then we'll continue this video where we left off from here. I lied. I'm actually gonna clean up these other studs first, and then we'll come back another day when I have that other stud. So we'll clean these up. Like I said, a little wire brush and a grinder will do the trick. Alright, I'm going to hit these with a little WD-40 just to get them to resist on the rust. That way we have our best shot at keeping it this way, at least temporarily. Another thing you could do is basically just chase the threads with the hello, honey. With the lug nuts, which I'm going to do real quick. Just zip them in and out and a few times, and that should also help clean up the lug nuts a little bit too. Okay, now I'll go get the other wheel stud, come back another day and finish that up. For now I'm going to put the wheel back on, but I'm just going to turn it around in the driveway. That's all I'm doing. Alright, I got the bolts. This is the original, obviously. This is the new one, which has the correct thread. So this should be as easy as just throwing this sucker in here, taking our nut, putting it on there, and then taking an impact or a ratchet, whatever you got at home, and just cranking that sucker on. If you got trouble doing it, heat up that area around the hole, and that'll expand the material, like I said, and it'll make it a little easier. But we'll see if the impact can do it for now. Gotta get this thing out of my pocket. Which is never easy when you got gloves on, you know? Got it. Okay, watch closely now. You might miss it. Stud in the hole. Nut. Thread that sucker on there. Alright, so now it's snug, and you're just going to take it and draw it in. Come closer. Ready? Just like magic. Alright, with that, let's get back to what we were doing. Alright, I'm going to check the tranny fluid before I try and crank this over. like I said, I do have a leak in that case. So hopefully I still got enough to at least spin her around. Yep, it'll be fine. I don't know if you can really... Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Just trust me on it. It doesn't seem right. Here's my inlet tube there. That doesn't look right, huh? Best case scenario, that's where our leak's coming from. Maybe the dipstick tube is just a little less. We'll see. Project for another day. Representing the short kings all around the world tonight. See, we could do it. Just need a little help. Alright, let's get this wheel back on. She's been sitting for a minute. Not light. This is my favorite part. I just kicked one of my lug nuts. Great. It's one of my favorite part about working on trucks is heavy parts. Michael 1, F550, 0. I shouldn't say that too loud. I'm knocking on wood because this thing's probably going to fall on me. Don't want to jinx it. I gotta find that lug that I dropped. Like I said, I'm not driving this thing on the road without that other wheel stud on there, but I am gonna throw this on so I can drop it, flip it in my driveway so I can work on the other side. Alright, we got this thing back on the ground. Let's twist the key, see if we get anything out of it. Nothing, and I was afraid of that. I've been having issues with this thing the last couple times I started it. Wiring is a jumbled mess in there. You can probably see that, honestly. There. It's open, and that's never a good sign. Random wires on the ignition are tapped into and just left open with bare wires, so I gotta dig into this thing and see where I'm losing power. I'm gonna start up here by jumping wires and see if I can, with the key on, see if this thing will start up here. So I got something going on at my ignition where the key is, and I kind of knew that was going to be the case, just because of the mess up there. I'll power this thing down and dig into the wires, which is my all-time favorite thing to do. I'm going to let this warm up first. As you can see, it runs really nice. It's got the 7.3 in it. It needs the glow plugs replaced badly. It will not cold start unless you have a block heater on it. I'm talking like it can be 80 degrees out and it won't start unless you got the block heater on. So that's definitely a project that we're going to have coming up. But I just wanted to let this warm up, so when I am ready to start it, I don't have to have the block heater on it. So let's get into this wiring and go from there. So basically what I'm going to do here, since I didn't bother looking up the wiring diagram, is I'm just going to turn the key to the on position and touch this probe to the wires and see if I'm getting any juice, and then move from there. I'm getting power everywhere there. I'm gonna move on, find something else. So the answer is I don't know, and I don't have an answer because I was putting the probe in to each terminal, basically where the ignition is, every wire goes in, and I was getting hot on all of them. There was one where I pushed in and I didn't get anything from it, and I jammed it in and I did get something from it. And then, of course, off camera, I just kind of manhandled, just gave it a little twist, and now it's so I don't have an answer, but for now I'm just gonna say it's something in there for sure. I just don't know what. I'll probably clean up those wires. There's some exposed wires. I'll probably throw some heat shrink on, and if I ever get in a pickle, I'll just give it just a little shake. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get this thing out of the driveway. All right, so you're about to witness how tight my driveway is with this thing. Look at this mess. I hate seeing stuff like this. I hate it. This is why I hate letting projects drag out. Where's that tranny fluid? And that is why I would like to be in a place with a little more space. Not too shabby, huh? I could play that off and say it was skill. But I was about 4 inches from my camera, and that was pure luck. I thought I had an extra foot at least. Woo! Alright, this is where it's going to sit for now. Next time we get to work on this, we'll finish up that leaf spring. Take you along for the ride. And with that, here she sits. We are going to tear open the other side of the leaf springs to get that all fixed up. That'll be in the part 2. But also, we'll leave you with how much I paid for the truck. I think the guy had it listed for 6,000, 65. No, that's not true. I think it was listed for 7,500, and I whittled him down to 5. Basically, I showed up, truck was running, transmission was, slipping into gear a little rough, and then I noticed the leaf spring, so I talked him down to 5, which I think was I think that was a fair price. I don't think I cobbled him down too much. I think that was a fair price to pay for this truck, but what do you think? Let me know. I mean, 180,000 miles, 7.3. It's got the little toolboxes back here. That's a bird feeder. It's got the little toolboxes back here. The dump bed, which is an electric dump bed. 4-wheel drive. It's a nice little rig. I like the thing. I think 5,000 is a fair price. So with that, we will see you on part 2, which is going to be the passenger side leaf spring replacement. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff for me. It will really help me out in the process of building this channel. So with that, I will see you guys on the next one.